Are you set?
I just realized that there's a camera there.
I know,
That's
I didn't realize that either.
I'm sorry. I should have told y'all that. Yes,
I was
this
like,
one's
hold
y'all's. Yeah. No, I should have told y'all that. Welcome to Lifestyle Profiles. I'm Wendy McGowan Ellis, and today our guests are from the Shattered Dreams program. Today we have Erin Miller with FISD and Brandi Werner with the Frisco Police Department. So welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for being here. So tell us all about the Shattered Dreams program. How did it get started, and how is the police department working with Frisco ISD? And I'm going to let one of y'all go first.
The Shattered Dreams program is a 2-day educational program that we put on for our youth, and it teaches them the consequences of impaired driving as well as distracted driving. The program got started in 2000, so we've been going strong for about 19 years.
Wow. That's quite a while. Okay, Erin.
Mm-hmm. It's grown a lot in that time because we went from having one high school to now we have 10 high schools.
Yes.
And so working with the Frisco PD and trying to figure out how we're going to do that with so many high schools in Frisco is it's quite an undertaking.
Right. So tell us, for those of us who don't have children, describe what happens over the 2 days. Like what do the parents go through? What do the kids go through? And what's the message obviously it's to prevent impaired driving, but what's the overarching message that comes out of this?
The first portion of the program is an assembly, and during that assembly, we have previously worked with broadcast as well as theater.
Okay.
And we created like a house party scene, or some years it's been out like at a sporting event. It leads up to a crash, fatal crash, which involves impaired driving, intoxicated driving. In the previous years, we've also put in distracted driving, whereas maybe the other car was looking down, texting.
Okay.
When the kids go into the assembly, they watch on the theater screen the whole party reenactment, which leads up to the crash. The student body is dismissed outside, and they walk out to what we have already set up as a crash scene.
And it's a real car. Like I've seen it sometimes. They're demolished vehicles.
LW Towing every year has graciously donated a vehicle from the towing company.
Right.
And the fire department actually comes out, and somebody's trapped inside, so they have real life skills of extricating, cutting open the vehicle. The actors, they see what first responders see here when we get onto a scene. Out of respect of a family with one of our fatality accidents, we're never going to film that or take pictures and release it to the public, so it's the most real way that we can show kids this is what we see. Plus, the kids that are out in the scene are their peers. So they watch that. They watch Care Flight Land, or PHI, Air Ambulance Land. The funeral home comes and transports the deceased. We do SFSTs, which are the testing to see if somebody's intoxicated. We handcuff, take somebody away.
Wow.
So it's the kids at the schools who volunteer to do this. So I will tell you from the perspective of a former high school principal, when our students did this, I was sitting in the audience watching the party scene, and it's so uncomfortable. You're watching all of these kids, they're pretending to be drinking copious amounts of alcohol and getting into cars, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where they're about to have a crash, and when everybody walks outside and you have that demolished vehicle and you see your students, they see their peers in these situations that are so lifelike. And the drama department has gotten into it, the theater department and tech theater, and done all of the makeup.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
So it's multiple city
and multiple sensory.
and multiple students are getting involved as well.
Yes.
So
Okay.
Lots of different departments, and it takes your breath away when you walk out there because it's so real.
So I know that the students are involved, and obviously the police and fire. What about the parents of the students?
Where the parents are involved is during the application process. The students go home and tell their parents that they want to be a part of the program. They complete an application with their parents' approval, turn that in. This is where we have a team effort with the school staff. They help us pick kids from different walks of life, because once we send them back after the program, we want them to go speak to their group of friends. So we try to get a variety. When the parents know about the program, they turn in the application, but the child will never know for sure if they were picked.
That's right. I heard that.
Unless they were in the accident
It's a surprise.
scene.
Yeah.
Yes. So until we walk into the room with a Grim Reaper, an officer, an obituary, and we say, Joe Smith, stand up. Joe, you were just killed by a drunk driver. And then we start reading off his obituary that the parent wrote, which that's emotional. Kids cry. Their friends sitting around them cry. And we take Joe for the rest of the day. He gets painted. He has a certain shirt on, and he has zero communication with his friends other than schoolwork and teachers. We take their cell phones away. The parents get the impact of what it feels like for their child to never come home and not get to talk to them. They spend the night with us at a locked-in facility, and we put them through an entire experience that night. We go to a funeral home. We have them plan out their funeral so they see what their parents would be going through. Once we go to the locked-in facility, we have guest speakers, which are people who have lost their loved ones due to drinking and driving. So a mother sits there and tells a story about her all-star softball player daughter that was off to college and her life was taken away. Then one of the most emotional parts of the night is where we have the kids go off on their own and they write a goodbye letter to their loved ones.
So over the 19 years that this program has been going on, I'd like to hear both of your perspectives as a teacher and as a police officer. Do you think this program is really having an impact on the students?
I see the emotional impact it has when it's actually happening at your school. We've had the conversations at our home, with our kids about, what was that like for you, and what do you think? And while I don't have statistics on hand, you can see the impact that it has on kids, and you hear them talking about it afterwards. You hear them talking about choices that they're going to make after prom, after graduation, because of experiencing it.
Right. Truly changed behavior. Yes. Same thing, Officer Werner?
Yes, we've had feedback from parents in the past that have actually called the police department that we're planning on having, hosting prom parties where they thought under controlled situation that they would have alcohol, and those parties were canceled. And the parents were generous enough to call and let us know, hey, I want you to understand that we canceled this after your program.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because yes, we're talking about, or in my generation, it was more about drunk driving because we didn't have cell phones. But now that is just as much, or impairs you just as much as being drunk does, if not more, because you're down here, you're not even trying to look at the road. So how can our viewers as parents get involved or help support this program within both of your organizations?
One thing I would say, Frisco ISD has been amazing with supporting us because we take 2 days of assembly in their school year. We have 100% support from Frisco ISD. If a viewer is not in Frisco ISD, I would say advocate to get the program put at your child's school, as well as I think people don't get involved in this topic until their family's affected.
Yeah.
So MAD, mothersagainstdrunkdriving.org, has plenty of resources on how to reach out to lawmakers so that they put some tougher consequences to drunk drivers.
And from our Frisco community, we can always use volunteers, parents who own businesses, who can help on the campuses when it's going on particular campuses each year. Not to mention, we would just encourage parents to start talking to their kids about the consequences of impaired driving and driving while intoxicated, because it's such a very real thing.
Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being here today. This is such an important topic. Officer Werner, thank you so much. Ms. Miller, thank you.